Jake Morrison sat in row 3 of the massive lecture hall, his heart beating fast inside his chest. The fake alien skin that covered his face felt hot and sticky. He had been wearing the disguise for 6 hours now, and it was starting to itch. But he could not scratch it. Not here. Not with 300 alien beings sitting all around him. The lecture hall was huge, bigger than any building Jake had ever seen on Earth. The ceiling stretched up so high that he could barely see the top. Strange lights floated in the air, giving everything a blue glow. The seats were made for different kinds of bodies. Some were tall and thin, others were wide and low. Jake had picked a seat made for creatures about his size. Around him sat the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. He recognized some of them from his training files. The tall, thin ones with crystal skin were silicoids. They came from a planet made of rock and metal. The fat, blob-like creatures with tentacles were Neptunians. They lived in the deep oceans of their water world. The bug-like ones with 6 arms were from the hive worlds. They all thought with one mind. Jake had traveled across half the galaxy. To be here, 3 months ago, Earth's space listening posts had picked up strange signals. The signals were coded, but Earth's best computers had broken the code. The messages talked about a meeting about humans, about the human problem. Jake was one of only 12 humans who could speak alien languages. He was also one of the few who could wear the biomask without getting sick. The mask changed his face to look like a Zephyrian, a peaceful alien race that looked almost human. Almost, but not quite. A deep voice filled the hall. "Welcome, honored guests, to the Zephyrian Academic Institute." Jake looked up at the stage. A tall, gray alien stood behind a podium. Dr. Vexhai was famous across the galaxy. He was a scientist who studied other life forms. Jake had read his work during the long trip here. The alien was smart, very smart, too smart. "Today we gather to discuss a threat to galactic peace," Dr. Vexhai continued. His voice was cold and calm. "A threat that grows stronger every day. A threat that we can no longer ignore." The aliens in the hall made different sounds. Some clicked their claws, others made low humming noises, a few just sat silent. Jake tried to look normal, but his hands were shaking. "I speak, of course, of the humans." Jake's blood turned to ice. He forced himself to sit still. Around him, the aliens leaned forward in their seats. Some of them made excited sounds. "For too long, we have watched these creatures spread across the galaxy," Dr. Vexhai said. "They are young, only a few thousand years old. But they learn fast, too fast. They adapt to any world. They fight wars that should destroy them, but they survive. They make friends with species that should be enemies. They are dangerous." A large screen appeared in the air above the stage. It showed a picture of Earth. Jake had seen his homeworld from space before, but seeing it here made him feel sick. The blue and green planet looked so small and helpless. "The human homeworld," Dr. Vexhai said. "Beautiful, but deadly. This world has created the most dangerous species we have ever encountered, not because they are strong, not because they are smart, but because they are unpredictable." More pictures appeared on the screen. Human cities, human ships, human soldiers. Jake recognized some of the photos from recent news reports. "Look at their cities," the alien scientist continued. "Built without planning, each one different. Each one adapted to the land around it. Humans do not follow patterns. They create new solutions to every problem. This makes them impossible to predict." Jake wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. The exits were far away and alien guards stood at every door. He was trapped. "Their military is just as chaotic," Dr. Vexhai said. "They have no single command structure. Each human world makes its own decisions. Each human ship captain thinks for himself. In any proper military, this would be weakness. But for humans, it is strength. You cannot cut off the head of a snake that has no head." The aliens in the hall were getting excited. Jake could hear them talking to each other in their strange languages. Some were taking notes on glowing tablets. Others were recording everything. "But this is not the worst part," Dr. Vexhai said. The hall went quiet. The worst part is their ability to make alliances. Humans can become friends with any species. They have already made treaties with the Centauri. They trade with the vegan colonies. They even have diplomatic relations with the Andromedans. And Jake knew this was true. Earth had been working hard to make friends in the galaxy. It was one of humanity's greatest achievements. But now it sounded like a crime. Each new alliance makes them stronger, the alien continued. Each new friend gives them new technology, new ideas, new ways to fight. If we let them continue, they will unite the galaxy under their banner. They will remake the galaxy in their image. The screen changed. Again. Now it showed human children playing in parks. Human families eating together, human couples walking hand in hand. Simple, happy scenes from everyday life on Earth. Do not let their appearance fool you, Dr. Vexhai warned. They may look peaceful, but they are predators. They have conquered their entire planet. They have wiped out thousands of species. They have polluted their air and water, yet they continue to grow. They are a plague that spreads to every world they touch. Jake wanted to shout that this was not true. Yes, humans had made mistakes. Yes, they had hurt their planet, but they were trying to fix things. They were learning. They were getting better. The question before us today, Dr. Vexhai said, is not whether we should act. The question is, how do we stop this threat before it destroys everything we have built? The alien scientist pressed a button on his podium. The screen changed to show a star map. Red dots marked human colonies. There were more than Jake had expected. Humans had spread further than he realized. Fortunately, we have advantages, Dr. Vexhai continued. First, they are few in number. All human worlds combined have fewer than 50 billion inhabitants. Second, they are scattered across many star systems. They cannot defend all their worlds at once. Third, they do not know we are watching them. Jake felt like he was going to be sick. The alien was talking about his people like they were insects, to be stepped on. Over the next few hours, we will discuss the most efficient methods for dealing with this threat. Dr. Vexhai announced, we will examine their biological weaknesses. We will study their military tactics. We will learn their psychological patterns. By the end of today, we will have a complete plan for the elimination of the human species. The aliens in the hall made sounds of approval. Some clapped their hands or tentacles. Others clicked their claws together. A few just sat silent, but Jake could see they were interested. I have spent 5 years studying these creatures, Dr. Vexhai said. I have dissected their bodies. I have analyzed their DNA. I have watched their behavior patterns. I know their strengths and their weaknesses. I know how they think and how they fight. Most importantly, I know how they die. Jake gripped the arms of his seat so hard his knuckles turned white. He had to stay calm. He had to listen. He had to learn everything he could. The fate of humanity might depend on what he heard in this room. Let us begin with their physical weaknesses, Dr. Vexhai said. Despite their reputation for being tough, humans are actually quite fragile. They require a narrow range of temperature, pressure, and atmospheric composition to survive. They are vulnerable to radiation, toxins, and biological agents. Their immune systems, while adaptive, can be overwhelmed by engineered pathogens. The alien scientist was just getting started. Jake realized he was about to hear a detailed plan for the murder of every human in the galaxy. He was about to learn how his own species could be wiped out completely, and there was nothing he could do but sit quietly and listen. Jake's hands shook as he wrote down every word Dr. Vexhai said. The alien scientist had been talking for 2 hours now. 2 hours of detailed plans for killing humans. 2 hours of listening to his own species being discussed like a disease that needed to be cured. The lecture hall was getting warm. Jake could feel sweat under his biomask. The fake alien skin was starting to slip a little around his ears. He pushed it back into place, trying to look casual. The last thing he needed was for his disguise to fail now. The human respiratory system is particularly vulnerable, Dr. Vexhai continued. Their lungs cannot filter certain gas compounds. A simple atmospheric poison could eliminate entire colonies without damaging infrastructure. Jake wrote it down. Every horrible detail, every method of murder, he had to remember it all. Earth needed to know what was coming. We will now take a 30-minute break, Dr. Vexhai announced. When we return, Admiral Thrax will present the military strategy for Phase 1 of Operation Extinction Dawn. The aliens began to leave their seats. Jake stood up carefully. His legs felt weak. He needed fresh air. He needed to think. He needed to contact Earth and warn them. Jake walked toward the exit, trying to look calm. Around him, aliens talked excitedly about what they had heard. Some discussed the best ways to attack human ships. Others talked about which worlds to hit first. They sounded like people planning a picnic, not a genocide. The hallway outside the lecture hall was long and empty. Jake found a quiet corner near a window that looked out at the alien city. He pulled out a small device that looked like a simple translator. It was really a quantum communicator, one of Earth's most secret technologies. Before he could turn it on, a voice spoke behind him. "Your mask is slipping." Jake spun around. A young alien stood there, watching him. She looked like a Zephyrian, with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. She was tall and thin, with long fingers that ended in small claws. Jake had seen her in the lecture hall, sitting 2 rows behind him. "I'm sorry?" Jake said, trying to sound confused. "Your biomask," she said quietly. "It's not fitted properly. The edges are coming loose around your ears." Jake's heart stopped. He reached up to touch his face, but the alien held up a hand. "Don't," she said. "Someone might see you adjusting." Just stand still and let me help." She moved closer. Jake wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. The alien's fingers touched his face, pressing the mask back into place. Her touch was gentle, careful. "There," she said. "That should hold for a few more hours, but you need to be more careful. Biomasks are not perfect. They require constant attention." Jake stared at her. "Why are you helping me?" The alien looked around to make sure no one else was listening. "Because I know what you are," she said, "and I know you shouldn't be here." "I don't know what you mean," Jake said. "You're human," she said simply. "I can smell it on you. Humans have a particular scent. Sweet, but with an edge of metal. It's quite distinctive once you know what to look for." Jake's hand moved toward the weapon hidden under his jacket. The alien saw the movement and shook her head. "I'm not going to turn you in," she said. "My name is Zarakith. I'm a researcher here at the Institute. I study alien cultures and behavior patterns." "Why aren't you calling for security?" Jake asked. "Because I don't agree with what they're planning," Zarakith said. "Not all of us want to kill your species. Some of us think this whole plan is wrong." Jake didn't know what to say. He had expected to find enemies here. He had not expected to find a friend. "What's your name?" Zarakith asked. Jake hesitated. Giving his real name could be dangerous, but something about this alien made him want to trust her. "Jake," he said finally. "Jake Morrison." "Well, Jake Morrison," Zarakith said, "you're in serious trouble. Do you have any idea what you've walked into?" "I heard the first part of the lecture," Jake said. "It's about killing humans. It's worse than that," Zarakith said. "This isn't just one planet's plan. This is a galaxy-wide conspiracy. 12 different species have agreed to work together. They're calling it the Galactic Peace Initiative, but it's really about fear." Jake felt his stomach drop. "Fear of what?" "Fear of you," Zarakith said. "Fear of what humans might become. Your species is young, but you're advancing faster than anyone expected. You're making alliances, building colonies, developing new technologies. The older species are scared that you'll take over the galaxy." "We don't want to take over anything," Jake said. "We just want to survive and grow." "I know," Zarakith said. "I've studied your species for 3 years. I've read your literature, watched your entertainment, analyzed your behavior patterns. Humans are not conquerors. You're builders, you create things, you make friends, you solve problems. But the others don't see it that way." "How many species are involved?" Jake asked. 12 confirmed, Zarakith said. "Maybe more," the Draconians are leading the alliance. They've convinced the others that humans are a threat that must be eliminated before you become too powerful. Jake thought about Earth's small fleet of ships. Humanity had maybe 100 warships scattered across a dozen worlds. Against 12 alien species, they wouldn't stand a chance. When? Jake asked. Soon, Zaraketh said. The attack is scheduled for 6 months from now. They're calling it Operation Extinction Dawn, 3 phases. First, they disable your communications and defenses. Then they release biological weapons. Finally, they send ground forces to finish off any survivors. Jake felt sick. How do you know all this? Because my people are being forced to participate, Zaraketh said. The Zephyrians are pacifists. We don't fight wars. We study and learn and create art, but the Draconians have threatened to destroy our world if we don't help them. What kind of help? Biological weapons, Zaraketh said. We're very good at creating diseases. They want us to make something that will kill humans but leave other species alone. Something that looks like a natural plague. Jake closed his eyes. This was worse than he had imagined. Not only were the aliens planning to attack humanity, but they were forcing peaceful species to help them. Are you going to do it? Jake asked. I don't know, Zaraketh said. If we refuse, they'll kill everyone on my world. 60 billion people. But if we help them, they'll kill everyone on your worlds. I don't know which choice is right. Jake looked at her. This alien had just saved his life by fixing his disguise. She was risking her own safety to talk to him. She was clearly struggling with what her people were being asked to do. Maybe there's another choice, Jake said. What do you mean? Maybe. We can stop them, Jake said. Maybe we can find a way to save both our peoples. Zaraketh stared at him. You're crazy. There are 12 species in this alliance. They have thousands of ships, billions of soldiers. Humanity has what, 50 worlds? A few hundred ships? We have something they don't, Jake said. What? We have the element of surprise, Jake said. They think we don't know about their plan. They think we're helpless, but now we know. And knowledge is power. Even if you warn your people, what can they do? You're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. I don't know yet, Jake said, but I have to try. Will you help me? Zaraketh was quiet for a long moment. If I help you, I can never go home again. My people will consider me a traitor. If you don't help me, there might not be a home to go. Back to, Jake said. You said the Draconians threatened to destroy your world. What happens after they finish with humanity? Do you think they'll just let the other species go back to their normal lives? Zaraketh thought about this. No, she said finally. They won't. The Draconians believe in order through strength. They want to rule the galaxy. Getting rid of humanity is just the first step. Then we need to stop them, Jake said. Not just for humanity, but for everyone. What do you want me to do? Zaraketh asked. First, help me get through the rest of this conference, Jake said. I need to hear their complete plan. Then help me get the information back to Earth. That's going to be very dangerous, Zaraketh sighed. Security will be looking for spies. If they catch you, they'll kill you slowly. If they catch me helping you, they'll kill me too. I know, Jake said. But it's the only chance we have. Zaraketh nodded slowly. Okay, I'll help you. But we need to be very careful. The afternoon session is going to be even more dangerous than the morning. They're going to talk about specific targets, timetables, and attack strategies. Security. We'll be watching everyone very closely. We'll manage, Jake said. We have to. A chime sounded through the building. The break was over. Time to go back to the lecture hall and listen to more plans for genocide. Stay close to me, Zaraketh said. If anything goes wrong, follow my lead. They walked back toward the lecture hall together. Jake tried to look calm, but his heart was racing. He had come here alone, expecting to gather information and slip away quietly. Now he had an alien ally, and together they were going to try to stop the biggest threat humanity had ever faced. The question was, would they survive long enough to warn Earth? Jake and Zaraketh walked back into the lecture hall together. Jake's stomach was tight with fear. His biomask felt heavier now, like it might fall off his face at any moment. But he had to keep going. He had to learn everything about their plan. They sat down in their seats just as Dr. Vex-High returned to the stage. The alien scientist looked pleased with himself. Behind him, a new figure appeared. This one was bigger than Dr. Vex-High, with dark red skin and sharp teeth. Jake recognized the species from his training files. It was a draconian, one of the most dangerous warrior races in the galaxy. "Allow me to introduce Admiral Thrax," Dr. Vex-High said. "He will present the military aspects of Operation Extinction Dawn." Admiral Thrax stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. "The human military is weak," he began. "They have no central command. Their ships are scattered across many worlds. Their weapons are primitive. This will be easy." The screen above, the stage showed a map of human space. Red dots marked every human colony. There were more than Jake had known about. Humanity had spread further than Earth's government had told its people. "Phase 1 begins with electromagnetic pulse attacks," Admiral Thrax continued. "We will destroy their communication satellites first, no warnings. No chance to call for help. Each human world will be alone." Jake wrote down every word. Next to him, Zarakith was doing the same. Her face looked worried. "Human ships are slow," the Admiral said. "They use chemical rockets and primitive fusion drives. Our ships are 10 times faster. We can attack multiple worlds before they can respond." The screen changed to show pictures of human warships. Jake recognized some of them. The Earth Defense Force was proud of those ships. They looked strong and dangerous in the photos. But compared to the alien vessels shown next to them, they looked like toys. "The human fleet has 127 warships," Admiral Thrax said. "We have over 3,000 ships in our combined fleets. Even if every human ship fights perfectly, they cannot win." Jake felt hope draining out of him. The numbers were worse than he had feared, but he kept writing. Earth needed to know exactly what they were facing. Phase 2 involves biological weapons, Admiral Thrax continued. "Dr. Sylvan of the Hive Minds will explain this phase." A new alien took the stage. Dr. Sylvan looked like a giant insect with 6 arms and compound eyes. When she spoke, her voice buzzed like a swarm of bees. "We have created 7 different biological agents," Dr. Sylvan said. "Each one targets human DNA specifically. The diseases will spread quickly through human populations but will not affect other Earth species." Jake's blood turned cold. They were planning to kill every human while leaving Earth's animals and plants alive. The planet would survive, but humanity would be gone. "The first virus attacks the human immune system," Dr. Sylvan continued. "Humans will become sick and die within days. The second virus affects human reproduction. Any human children born after exposure will not survive. The third virus attacks the human nervous system, causing madness and death." Jake wanted to run. He wanted to scream. But he forced himself to keep writing. The aliens had planned this for years. They had thought of everything. "We have tested these weapons on captured humans," Dr. Sylvan said casually. "The results were very successful." Jake's pen stopped moving. Captured humans? What captured humans? Zarakith leaned over and whispered in his ear. "The missing colony." "Ships," she said quietly. "They weren't lost in space. They were captured." Jake remembered the news reports. 3 colony ships had disappeared in the last 2 years. The Earth government had said they were lost to mechanical failures or navigation errors, but they had been captured. The aliens had been experimenting on human prisoners. The biological weapons will be released simultaneously on all human worlds, Dr. Sylvan continued. Delivery will be through water supplies, air circulation systems, and food distribution networks. No human will escape exposure. Jake felt sick. The aliens had been watching human colonies, learning how they worked, finding the best ways to poison everyone. "Phase 3 is cleanup," Admiral Thrax said, returning to the stage. "Ground forces will land on each world to eliminate any survivors. We estimate this phase will take 6 months to complete. The screen showed invasion plans. Maps of human cities, pictures of alien soldiers, plans for occupation and destruction. Some of you have asked why we don't simply destroy the human worlds from space, Admiral Thrax said. The answer is simple. We want those worlds intact. Many human colonies are on very valuable planets. We will take them for ourselves once. The humans are gone. Jake understood now. This wasn't just about eliminating a threat. It was about conquest. The aliens wanted humanity's planets, resources, and technology. They were planning to commit genocide for profit. The timeline is as follows, Admiral Thrax said. Phase 1 begins in 6 months, on the date you call March 15th. Phase 2 begins 24 hours later. Phase 3 begins 1 week after that. By the end of the year, the human problem will be solved forever. Jake looked at his watch. March 15th was less than 6 months away. Earth had almost no time to prepare. Now, Dr. Vexhai said, returning to the stage, we will discuss the most important part of our plan, how to prevent human retaliation. The screen changed again. This time it showed detailed files on human leaders. Jake recognized some of the faces. Military commanders, government officials, scientists. The aliens had been watching Earth's most important people. Humans have one dangerous trait, Dr. Vexhai said. They never give up. Even when facing impossible odds, they keep fighting. We must eliminate this tendency. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The aliens understood humanity better than he had realized. The key is to attack their hope, Dr. Vexhai continued. We will target their leaders first. Their scientists, their military commanders, their political figures. Without leadership, humans become confused and frightened. The screen showed assassination plans. Detailed maps of Earth's capital cities, pictures of government buildings. The aliens were planning to kill Earth's leaders before the main attack began. We will also target their families, Dr. Vexhai said. Humans have strong emotional bonds with their relatives. Threatening their families will make them hesitate to fight back. Jake gripped his pen so hard it almost broke. These aliens weren't just planning to kill humanity. They were planning to torture them first. Finally, we will use psychological warfare, Dr. Vexhai said. We will broadcast messages to all human worlds. We will tell them that resistance is hopeless. We will show them the destruction of their strongest colonies. We will break their spirit before we break their bodies. The lecture hall was quiet. Even the aliens seemed disturbed by the detailed cruelty of the plan. Are there any questions? Dr. Vexhai asked. A silicoid in the front row raised one crystal arm. What about human allies? It asked. Some species have made treaties with humanity. An excellent question, Dr. Vexhai said. We have already contacted the Centauri Federation and the Vegan Republic. They have agreed to cancel their treaties with humanity. They will not interfere with our operation. Jake felt another piece of hope die. Earth's allies were abandoning them. The Andromedans have also agreed to remain neutral, Admiral Thrax added. They will close their borders to human refugees. No human will escape? Any other questions? Dr. Vexhai asked. No one spoke. The plan was complete. Every detail had been worked out. Every escape route had been blocked. Humanity was doomed. Very well, Dr. Vexhai said. We will now take a final break. When we return, we will discuss the assignment of specific targets to each species. You will learn which worlds your people will be responsible for destroying. The aliens began to leave their seats again. Jake sat still, stunned by what he had heard. The plan was worse than genocide. It was systematic torture followed by extinction. Zaraketh touched his arm. Are you okay? She whispered. Jake looked at her. They're going to kill everyone, he said quietly. Every human in the galaxy. I know, Zaraketh said. But now you know their plan. You can warn your people. It won't matter, Jake said. They've thought of everything. They have more ships, better weapons, and they're going to attack without warning. Even if I warn Earth, what can they do? I don't know, Zaraketh said. But humans are unpredictable. Right? That's what Dr. Vexhide keeps saying. Maybe you'll think of something the aliens didn't expect. Jake looked around the lecture hall. 300 aliens had just spent hours planning the complete destruction of his species. They had considered every possibility, planned for every defense, eliminated every escape route, but maybe Zaraketh was right. Maybe being unpredictable was humanity's greatest strength. Maybe there was something the aliens hadn't thought of. He just had to figure out what it was before March 15th. Jake walked out of the lecture hall with his head spinning. The final session had been even worse than the first two. Each alien species had been given specific targets. The Draconians would attack Earth itself. The Silicoids would destroy the mining colonies. The Neptunians would flood the underwater cities. Zaraketh walked beside him, looking just as shocked. "I can't believe they planned all this," she whispered. "Every detail, every backup plan. They really want to wipe out your entire species." Jake nodded but didn't speak. He was trying to remember everything he had heard, the attack dates, the target lists, the weapon specifications. Earth needed all of it. They reached the same quiet corner where they had talked before. Jake pulled out his quantum communicator again. This time he managed to turn it on before anyone interrupted them. "Earth Control, this is Agent Morrison," he said quietly into the device. Static filled the air for a few seconds. Then a voice answered. "Morrison, this is Captain Park. Thank God you're alive. We lost contact with you 12 hours ago." Okay, but I don't have much time," Jake said. "I need to speak with Admiral Stone immediately. Stand by." More static. Then a new voice came through the communicator. Admiral Rebecca Stone was the head of Earth's Defense Command. Jake had met her once before he left on this mission. "Morrison, what's your status?" Admiral Stone asked. "Bad, Admiral. Very bad. It's worse than we thought." "How much worse?" "They're planning to kill every human in the galaxy," Jake said. 12 alien species working together. They call it Operation Extinction Dawn, the attack. Starts in 6 months. Silence on the other end. Then Admiral Stone spoke again. "Are you certain?" "I just spent 8 hours listening to their complete plan," Jake said. 3 phases. First they destroy our communications. Then they release biological weapons. Then they send ground forces to finish off survivors. "Dear God," Admiral Stone said. "How many ships?" "Over 3,000, Jake said. "We're outnumbered 30 to 1. Another long silence. "Morrison, you need to get that information back to Earth immediately. We need every detail." "I'm working on it," Jake said. "But there's a problem. They're about to do security scans. They might discover my disguise. Then get out of there now." "I can't. There are guards at every exit, and I'm not alone. I have someone with me, an alien who's helping me." "A what?" "Her. Name is Zaraketh. She's a Zephyrian scientist. She doesn't agree with the plan. She's been giving me information." "Morrison, you can't trust an alien." "This could be a trap." Jake looked at Zaraketh. She was watching the hallway, making sure no one was coming toward them. She had risked her life to help him. She had fixed his disguise. She had shared intelligence about the attack. If this was a trap, it was a very strange one. "I trust her," Jake said. "Without her help, I would have been caught hours ago." Admiral Stone was quiet for a moment. "Okay, but be careful." "Can you get to your ship?" "I think so. But they'll be watching for anyone trying to leave early." "Do whatever you have to do," Admiral Stone said. "Earth needs that information. We need time to prepare." "Understood. Morrison out." Jake turned off the communicator. Zaraketh was still watching the hallway. "Your people know what's coming?" she asked. "Now they do," Jake said. "But knowing and being able to stop it are two different things." "We should go," Zaraketh said. "The security scans start in 30 minutes. If they detect your biomask, we'll both be dead." They started walking toward the exit. Jake tried to look casual, like he was just leaving early to beat the crowd. But his heart was pounding. They made it halfway to the exit when alarms started. "Ringing. Attention all conference attendees," a voice announced over the building's speakers. Please remain in your current locations. Security teams are conducting mandatory bioscans. Anyone attempting to leave the building will be detained. Jake and Zarakith stopped walking. Around them, other aliens looked confused but stayed where they were. Guards appeared at every doorway, blocking the exits. They know, Jake said quietly. Not necessarily, Zarakith said. This could be routine security, or someone else might have triggered suspicion. A group of draconian guards walked past them, carrying scanning devices. The scanners looked like metal wands with glowing tips. Jake had seen similar devices before. They could detect human DNA from 10 feet away. We need a distraction, Jake said. What kind of distraction? Jake thought quickly. The building had hundreds of aliens in it. If something happened to make them panic, the guards would be too busy to scan everyone carefully. Can you access the building's fire safety system? Jake asked. Probably. Why? If the fire alarms went off, everyone would have to evacuate. In the confusion, we might be able to slip away. Zarakith nodded. There's a control panel near the main lobby, but I'll need to get close to it without being seen. I'll create a distraction, Jake said. How? Jake smiled grimly. I'll do something unpredictable. They walked toward the main lobby. The area was crowded with aliens waiting to be scanned. Guards stood at every exit, checking IDs and running scans on anyone who looked suspicious. Jake saw the control panel Zaraketh was talking about. It was built into the wall near the main information desk. But there were 2 guards standing right next to it. Jake took a deep breath. Then he started shouting, "The humans are coming!" he yelled, in perfect Draconian. They found us. Human ships are attacking the orbital platforms. The effect was immediate. Aliens all around the lobby started panicking. Some ran toward the exits. Others pulled out communication devices to call their ships. The guards near the control panel left their posts to restore order. Zarakith moved quickly. She reached the control panel and started pressing buttons. Within seconds, fire alarms began ringing throughout the building. Emergency lights flashed. Automated voices announced that everyone should evacuate immediately. The panic got worse. Hundreds of aliens tried to leave through the exits at the same time. The guards couldn't stop them all. In the chaos, Jake and Zarakith slipped through a side door. They found themselves in a service corridor. Jake could hear guards shouting behind them, trying to figure out what was happening. "This way," Zarakith said. She led him through a maze of hallways and maintenance tunnels. I studied the building plans when I first arrived. There's an emergency exit near the landing bays. They ran through the corridors. Behind them, Jake could hear the sounds of pursuit. The guards had figured out that the alarms were false. They were searching the building systematically. "How much further?" Jake asked. "Almost there," Zarakith said. They reached a door marked with alien symbols. Zarakith pressed her hand against a scanner. The door opened, revealing the landing bay where Jake had hidden his ship. The bay was huge, filled with hundreds of alien vehicles. Jake's ship was small and plain, designed to look like a common cargo transport. He had parked it in the back corner, behind some larger vessels. They ran toward the ship. Jake was pulling out his access keys when he heard shouts behind them. "Stop right there!" 6 draconian guards ran into the landing bay. They had weapons drawn and pointed at Jake and Zarakith. "Step away from the ship," the lead guard ordered. Jake looked at Zarakith. She looked back at him. They were so close to escape, but now they were trapped. "I said step away from the ship." The guard repeated. Instead of stepping away, Jake dove behind his ship's landing gear. Zarakith followed him. Energy blasts from the guards' weapons hit the ground where they had been standing. "Can you fly this thing?" Jake asked her. "I can try," Zarakith said, "but we need to get inside first." Jake crawled to the ship's entrance and pressed his palm against the lock. The door opened with a soft hiss. More energy blasts hit the ship's hull as they climbed inside. Jake ran to the pilot's seat and started the engines. The ship's systems came online quickly. Through the cockpit window, he could see the guards spreading out to surround them. "Hold on," Jake said. He pushed the throttle forward. The ship lifted off the landing bay floor. The guards fired at them, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the ship's shields. Jake flew toward the bay's exit. Behind them, alarm klaxons were sounding. The orbital defense platforms would be targeting them soon. They burst out of the landing bay into open space. Jake could see the alien city spreading out below them. Above them, the stars waited. "Warning," came a voice over the radio. "Unidentified vessel, return to the landing bay immediately or you will be fired upon." Jake ignored the warning. He set course for the edge of the solar system, where he could safely engage his faster-than-light drive. Zarakith was working at the navigation console. "Defense platforms are locking onto us," she said. "3 ships are launching to intercept." "How long until we can jump to light speed?" Jake asked. 2 minutes. "Can we outrun them for 2 minutes?" Zarakith looked at the sensor readings. "It's going to be close." Energy beams started flashing past the cockpit windows. The pursuing ships were fast, but Jake's vessel was more maneuverable. He flew through the asteroid field that surrounded the planet. Using the rocks as cover, one of the pursuing ships got too close to a large asteroid. Jake saw his chance. He fired his ship's small defensive weapons at the asteroid, breaking off chunks of rock. The debris hit the pursuing ship, damaging its engines. "1 down. 2 to go," Jake said. 30 seconds to jump point, Zarakith announced. The remaining 2 ships were gaining on them. Jake's ship flew through space for 3 days before reaching Earth. During the journey, he and Zarakith worked together to organize all the information they had gathered. Every detail about Operation Extinction Dawn was recorded. Every alien species involved was listed. Every weakness in their plan was noted. "Your planet is beautiful," Zarakith said as Earth appeared on the main screen. The blue and green world hung in space like a jewel. "It's home," Jake said simply. He opened a communication channel to Earth Defense Command. "Earth Control, this is Agent Morrison requesting immediate landing clearance, Priority Alpha." "Morrison, thank God you made it back," came Admiral Stone's voice. "We've been preparing for your arrival. Bay 7 is ready for you." Jake landed his ship in the underground military base beneath Earth's capital city. As soon as the engines shut down, dozens of people surrounded the ship. Scientists, military officers, government officials. Everyone wanted to hear what Jake had learned. Admiral Stone was waiting at the bottom of the ship's ramp. She was a tall woman with gray hair and tired eyes. Behind her stood General Martinez, the head of Earth's ground forces, and Dr. Kim, Earth's chief scientist. "Morrison," Admiral Stone said, "please tell me you have good news." "I have information," Jake said. "Whether it's good news depends on what we do with it." He gestured to Zarakith, who was standing nervously beside him. "This is Zarakith. She saved my life and helped me escape." The humans stared at the alien. Most of them had never seen a living alien before. Zarakith looked uncomfortable under their gaze. "She risked everything to help us," Jake continued. "Her people are being forced to participate in the attack. If we're smart, she might be the key to stopping it." "We'll discuss that later, Admiral," Stone said. "Right now, I need to know exactly what we're facing." They moved to a secure briefing room deep underground. Jake spent the next 4 hours explaining everything he had learned. The 3-phase attack plan, the timeline, the biological weapons, the psychological warfare tactics. Every horrible detail. When he finished, the room was silent. Dr. Kim was the first to speak. "The biological weapons are our biggest problem," she said. "If they can really create diseases that only affect humans, our medical defenses won't help much." "What about evacuation?" General Martinez asked. "Can we move people off the target worlds? Where would they go?" Admiral Stone replied. "Jake said the aliens have convinced our allies to abandon us. There's nowhere to run." "Then we fight," General Martinez said. "We hit them before they hit us." "With what?" Admiral Stone asked. "They have 3,000 ships. We have 127. They have advanced weapons. We have fusion missiles and energy cannons." Jake listened to the debate. The humans were doing what they always did when faced with a problem. They were looking for solutions. But this problem seemed too big for any solution. "May I say something?" Zaraketh asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She seemed nervous but determined. You're thinking about this wrong, she said. You're trying to fight them like they expect you to fight, but that's not how humans win battles. You win by doing things differently. What do you mean? Admiral Stone asked. The aliens are planning for a war against humans as they understand humans, Zaraketh explained. But their understanding is incomplete. They see your species as violent and unpredictable. They don't understand that you're also creative and cooperative. Jake was starting to understand. You mean we don't fight the war they're planning for? Exactly, Zaraketh said. They expect you to gather your ships and fight big space battles. They expect you to try to defend all your worlds at once. They expect you to panic when the biological weapons are released. So what do we do instead? Dr. Kim asked. Jake felt an idea forming in his mind. We turn their plan against them. How? They're counting on secrecy, Jake said. They think we don't know they're coming, but we do know. And we have something they don't expect us to have. What's that? Admiral Stone asked. Jake looked at Zaraketh, an alien ally. Someone who can help us contact the species being forced. To participate, Admiral Stone frowned. You want to try to break up their alliance? Not break it up, Jake said. Turn it around. Zaraketh said some species don't want to fight this war. What if we could convince them to switch sides? That's incredibly dangerous, General Martinez said. If the aliens suspect we're trying to turn their allies, they might attack early. They might, Jake agreed. But it's better than waiting for them to kill us all. Admiral Stone thought for a moment. What would you need? Fast ships, Jake said. Small crews, people who can speak alien languages. And Zaraketh has helped to make contact with the right aliens. The Zephyrians would be the easiest to convince, Zaraketh said. My people never wanted to fight this war. If they knew humans were willing to protect them from the Draconians, they might switch sides. What about the others? Dr. Kim asked. The Centauri Federation abandoned their treaty with us, Jake said. But what if we could offer them something better? What if we could promise to help them against their own enemies? The Neptunians hate the Silicoids, Zaraketh added. They've been enemies for centuries. If we could convince the Neptunians that the Silicoids plan to betray them after humanity is destroyed, they might turn against the Alliance. Admiral Stone nodded slowly. It's risky, but it might work. How long would we have? The attack is scheduled for March 15th, Jake said. That gives us 4.5 months. Not much time, General Martinez said. It's enough, Jake said. Humans work fast when we have to. Over the next week, Earth's government approved Jake's plan. They called it Operation Friendship. While Earth's military prepared for war, teams of diplomats and spies would travel to alien worlds. Their mission was to break apart the alliance that threatened humanity. Jake led the first team to the Zephyrian homeworld. Zaraketh came with him, along with 2 other humans who spoke Zephyrian. Their ship was fast and small, designed to avoid detection. The Zephyrian government was shocked to see Zaraketh return. They thought she was dead. When she explained what she had learned about the Draconian plans, they were horrified. The Draconians told us this was about protecting the galaxy, the Zephyrian leader said. They said humans were planning to conquer everyone. Do we look like conquerors to you? Jake asked. He had brought videos of human children playing human. Families working together, human scientists sharing their discoveries with alien researchers. No, the Zephyrian leader admitted. You look like people who want to live in peace. That's all we want, Jake said. A chance to live and grow and learn, just like you do. The Zephyrians agreed to secretly withdraw from the alliance. More importantly, they agreed to help contact other species who might be convinced to switch sides. Similar missions were launched to other worlds. Some failed. The Draconians had threatened some species so severely that they were too afraid to rebel. But others succeeded. The Centauri Federation agreed to renew their treaty with humanity after Earth offered to share advanced medical technology. The Neptunians turned against the Silicoids when they learned about a secret plan to claim Neptunian water worlds. Even some of the smaller hive mind colonies agreed to stay neutral instead of attacking human worlds. As the weeks passed, the alien alliance began to crack. Species that had been united in fear of humanity started to question whether the war was necessary. Some began to see humans not as threats but as potential partners, but the Draconians were not stupid. They began to suspect that something was wrong. Reports reached Earth that Draconian ships were investigating human colonies. The element of surprise was slipping away. On February 28th, just 2 weeks before the planned attack, Admiral Thrax himself arrived at Earth with a small fleet. But he didn't come to attack, he came to talk. "I know what you've been doing," he told Admiral Stone during a video conference. "You've been turning our allies against us." "We've been telling the truth," Admiral Stone replied. "We've been showing them that humans aren't the monsters you claimed we were." "Perhaps," Admiral Thrax admitted, "but it doesn't matter. The Draconians alone have enough ships to destroy your species. We don't need the others." "Then why are you here talking instead of attacking?" Admiral Stone asked. Admiral Thrax was quiet for a moment. "Because," he said finally, "I'm starting to wonder if we were wrong about humans." The conversation that followed changed everything. Admiral Thrax had been a warrior his entire life. He had conquered dozens of worlds for the Draconian Empire. But he had never encountered a species like humanity. "You could have used your alien ally to attack us by surprise," he said. "You could have tried to destroy our homeworld while we were preparing to attack you. Instead, you chose diplomacy. You chose to make friends instead of enemies. That's who we are," Admiral Stone said. "We'd rather have friends than conquered territories." "The young Draconians don't understand this," Admiral Thrax continued. "They see only strength and weakness. But I am old enough to remember when my people were explorers instead of conquerors. Perhaps it's time to remember those days again." The war that was supposed to destroy humanity never happened. Instead, Admiral Thrax helped Jake and Zaraketh organize a new kind of meeting. Not a secret conference about genocide, but an open summit about cooperation.